Mason Cox grew up in North Texas, was a soccer star at Flower Mound Marcus, played basketball at Oklahoma State, and now he's a superstar in Australian rules football. He joins us from Melbourne, Australia. Mason, thanks so much for being with us. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. It's good to join you.
Unusual times. Full disclosure, when we set this up, the Australian Football League was one of the few, maybe the only one in the world still playing before everything changed, but then your league suspended operations for a while this past week as well. But what was it like briefly to be really the only game in town, the only game in the world that people were watching?
Yeah, it's pretty insane to think that I'm the only American that plays AFL. To think I'm one of the only Americans in the world to still be playing sport is pretty crazy. So it was a very unique circumstance. Here in Australia, obviously, it's not as many people. We've only got 23 million, so about 10 million less than the state of Texas. So it didn't hit us probably as quickly as it did the United States, and we were able to get one game in, and then everything kind of filtered over here, and unfortunately, we had to postpone the season.
Obviously this story has become huge all over the world, and including in this country as unfortunately the death toll rises, and most of us now are working from home. What's the lockdown situation like in your home there of Australia?
Yeah, it's about the same. So we've had a few restrictions come in over the past really 3 or 4 days to a week. I mean, a week ago we were playing games, so you can imagine how things have changed drastically in that week, and we're all pretty much stayed to isolation now. We're supposed to stay at home, try to work from home if you can, and try to keep at least 2 or 3 meters, which is about 2 or 3 yards, between each other to make sure that nothing spreads anymore.
Here's Cox again for his second. Yes! Mason Cox has kicked his second in the first quarter.
I know you've been in Australia for a long time and you love it there. You consider yourself a citizen of that country. You've become wildly popular as an athlete and a celebrity. But is it a little bit difficult being this far away from home? I imagine there's a lot of family still here in Texas who miss you, and during this tense time especially.
Yeah, it's a unique circumstance. My whole family is actually back in Highland Village, so they're all hanging out. So all the brothers have come back in town, but I've had to stay here because of the quarantine rules. So if I go back home, I've got to stay quarantined for about 2 weeks, and then quarantined again for 2 weeks, and if I come back to Australia. So it's about a month of having to sit in isolation, which is a tough thing to do. But yeah, in these trying times, it is somewhat tough to be away from family. But luckily enough, we all have this magic thing that the internet connects us all through, and I can, Skype them like we are at the moment, or talk to them through video, and still be able to catch up with them.
As you mentioned, you're the only American playing in the AFL, in Australian rules football. How did this happen? I mean, you were a really good athlete in high school. You had an opportunity to play basketball at Oklahoma State briefly. How'd you end up playing this sport as a 6'11" Texan?
It's a long story, but I'll try to keep it short. I played soccer at Marcus High School in Flower Mound. And then from there, I went to university, studied mechanical engineering, and was fortunate enough to walk on to the Oklahoma State men's basketball team. And from that it was a pretty unique circumstance. They had messaged me once we had finished up March Madness, and then asked me if I'd be interested to go to a combine in Los Angeles. And crazy enough, that led me to Melbourne. So I got an opportunity to come to a combine out here, show somewhat of my skills and athletic ability, because I'd never heard of the sport before, and I'd never been to Melbourne. So you can imagine how crazy that was. And then we ended up doing really well there, and there's a few teams interested. So I had the option to either go work at ExxonMobil after university, or have this unique opportunity down in Melbourne, or down under, as they call it, and be able to experience what AFL really was.
What do you love about the country of Australia? What has caused you to fall in love with it?
It's a unique place, but I think with anywhere, it's all about the people and the culture that's around. So almost a quarter of Australians are all born outside of Australia itself. So it's a very multicultural place. There's a lot of things going on. So there's a lot more, I think, interpersonal relationships with people. It's very much a Texas vibe. People are very generous, very respectful in their own ways also. So it's been pretty easy transition for myself to come over here. And yeah, it's a beautiful country. I've just applied for citizenship, so I'll hopefully be a dual citizen of the world, which would be pretty cool here soon. But yeah, it's been a very amazing place. I highly recommend anyone that wants to come over to Australia to definitely check out Melbourne.
Yeah, you've got a combination of Texas drawl and now a very prominent Aussie dialect as well. Didn't take long to pick that up, I'll bet, huh?
I think at a certain point you have to stop repeating yourself and just give in. So you say "Good day, mate" every once in a while, and you say "How you going," which are probably the two things that can get you over the line. And people go, "Oh, is he Australian or is he American?" I'm not really sure. So I've got a bit of a mixture accent now. But whenever I come home, everyone kind of tells me I'm Australian. Whenever I go to Australia, everyone tells me I'm American. So I don't know where I'm from anymore, but we're enjoying it at the moment.
Before I let you go, how far along were you in your season, and when do you hope to resume?
Yes, we had 2 games that were preseason games, and then we had 1 game during the actual year, and that was 4 points and 4 standings. So unfortunately, after that first game, we had it postponed. But at the moment now, we're in negotiations with the league to be able to hopefully start up in 2 months' time. So if all goes well, we'll actually be back on before all the American leagues are on, and hopefully people back in Texas and back in the United States can maybe catch on and catch the unique, crazy game that is Aussie rules. If you get a chance, I'm telling you, go Google it. Just say, "What is Aussie rules football?" and you won't be disappointed. It's a fantastic sport that is just crazy in its own right.
You betcha!
Well, and you've become a superstar in your own right through that sport and that great country. And stay safe. Thanks for checking in with us here. We'll hope to talk again soon. Mason Cox, thanks very much.
Thanks, Mike.